Good evening. Well, I'm only going to talk about one story this evening, and it's the indictment of Mr. Trump in Washington, D.C. for his efforts to overthrow the election. But let me take you back and tell you a short story. I was in the U.S. courthouse today because I had a case, a sentencing. And the judge I was before, I said at the beginning of the sentencing, before we got into the matter, I said, Your Honor, the courthouse is just a-popping, and I was wondering what you think about the possibility of you becoming the judge who handles the Trump indictment. Now, at that time, we all suspected, that is, everybody in the building suspected that the grand jury was going to return an indictment. But the whole day went by, and they didn't do anything. Now, this was a courtroom, and there was a pretty fair number of people there, and I won't say what the judge said when I proposed it to her. No, nothing terrible. And so later in the day, we find out that a 45-page indictment has issued. It names Trump, and it identifies 6 people with whom he commits 3 different conspiracies, all charged in the same indictment. Now, this suggests the 6 people, several are lawyers, might be Rudy Giuliani, there's several different people that they could be. And I'm not going to bother guessing because we'll know by midnight tonight. You'll know by the time you see me walking and talking. Now, when they get the indictment, they present it, but they don't attach a name to it. And they don't attach a name until a judge has been chosen. And the judge who was chosen was the judge that I said in the morning at 11:30 a.m., how would you feel about being the prosecutor in the case? Not the prosecutor, the judge. And the name of the judge that I was before was Judge Chutkan, Chutkan. And the judge who was chosen, Judge Chutkan. Now, I'll probably go into more depth tomorrow, and I was in the car coming back from the courthouse where the grand jury had been and where the indictment was filed. When I heard about it, I got a call from a couple of producers. And so I may appear tomorrow, but here's my thoughts today. I'm not going to get into the details, although I will later or tomorrow. The thing about this that's the most significant to me is that after 2.5 years, we finally brought this guy down to be treated equally before the law, and a demand made that he account for his misconduct. That's sensational. Jack Smith has been a surprise in the sense that he seems to have been doing so well. He seems to have been able to establish his independence. He seems to have been able to establish a force of prosecutors that work with him. And he's going after the 2 items he was supposed to go after. The classified material down in Florida and the attack on our republic in D.C. I can't wait to hear what Trump has to say, his false bravado. And I wonder if this isn't the end of the line for him, because next week it appears the prosecutor in Georgia, it looks like she's going to go forward. So it'll be interesting to see what she has to say. And the value of these 2 state prosecutions in New York and Georgia is that nobody can give a federal pardon as to these state cases. And it is very possible these prosecutions will keep Trump from being reelected, or perhaps he'll even stop his campaign. Who knows? We'll see how that unfolds. But the most significant thing to me is that after all our argument and talk, and it's not over yet, we finally have gotten the government to respond. When I say we, and the Constitution does say we the people, it doesn't say I, like Trump's group seems to think. The beauty of us demanding action and of the Congress responding with the January 6th committee and forcing the Attorney General, and I do believe it was a forcing, to get somebody who could do the job. And it appears that that's Jack Smith. And that's exciting. And just like everybody else, I'm sure we can find differences about things. But he's the man in the ring. He's the one fighting. That's the real test here. There is an inscription that Robert Kennedy put over his marital bed during the Bay of Pigs when his brother made this statement. And I having said this, I hope I can remember it. Bullfight critics, row by row, crowd the enormous full. But there's only one who knows, and that's the man who fights the bull. Jack Smith is that man. He's proving himself day by day at a time when we need a hero. And I don't want to jinx it by saying that, but he seems to be building the kind of character that he has in him, doing things he's never done before, that may help us sooner rather than later get back to the republic that was endangered by Trump and his minions. So, a little short today. I'll probably talk more about the indictment tomorrow, but I'm going to do this walk, and Holly and I are going to down a bottle of champagne because it's about time. So, all the best. I speak to you from the Cathedral of Trees, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. All the best. Bye-bye.